can you tell us how did you come to be a refugee overseas? What was the story? Is there a war?
But she wants only
Yeah, but I want to know that story too. What is it?
I've already wrote my narrative.
I don't know it. What happened? So you were in East Germany.
No, I lived in a German-speaking border area, which was German and Czech and German and Czech, and that's why we could choose to speak German, or
So-
the Czechs, they spoke Czechs, and they lived
So
in
was
one
Czechoslovakia,
area.
was that
That-
East Germany? No.
that
It was
Hitler-
Oh, I understand.
Hitler marched in and said, that is our part now. He just occupied half of that area, and we were German friendly. We were the German part. It's too hard to
Okay,
explain.
no, please
to
keep going
anyone.
because I want to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Russians marched in, and the Czechs and the Russians, they were thick friends, and the Czechs said, they shouldn't be living here. That's our land, and they have to go. And in a matter of a few hours, people had to leave out of their houses, had to leave. Someone comes to you here now and says, okay, you have half an hour. You look what you really want, and off you go with a suitcase. That's all they were allowed to. But my father, he was especially, they wanted him to put in a concentration camp because he was especially German friendly. He really showed that he wanted to be a German, so they wanted to punish him, they wanted to put him in jail. He found out by a friend, and overnight he took my brother and me. I was 9 or 10, my brother was 2, and we had nothing, not even luggage. We just had to go over the border. There was a little river.
At night time or?
Nighttime. It was so urgent, in the middle of the night, and there were border guards everywhere, and we made it through. He had my brother on his back, and I, yeah. And,
How did you cross the river?
That was the real Germany then, you know. Or through the river. We had
just
to go
wade.
to the river. And that was
You'd have to swim it?
in my 45.
So it's still chewy.
No, it was just a brick, sort of, with stones and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So we made it without being shot at, but they heard us, but it was too late for them to do anything. We made it, just made it. So there we were in Germany. with
Guys, be
nothing.
quiet.
And that was the end of the war. It was chaotic. There was no one looking after anyone. It was what you can
Could
do
make.
or else you die. There was no refugee camps, no shelter, no food outlets. We begged through. And the trains, they were full of people. It was like India. It was absolutely shocking. Then we found shelter. There was a new made camp, and we were 3 on a bed there. And next morning, the woman beside us was dead. You know, that was the whole situation. To starve or you find something. And we begged, really begged them. Oh, it was amazing. It took us 2 weeks from the border to Berlin, where my grandmother lived, my father's mother lived, and she took us up. Well, she is his mother after all. But she said, I can't do that, but that's all. So, with other words, we had nothing and she had a little bit.
Don't
She had a
even
little
think
bit
about
more
it.
than, you know.
Hmm.
So she had a big bag of dried bread pieces. They already started to starve in Germany then. So she had a hamster butt and she hid it in her flat. And we were starving. So I think I found it and I pinched a bit of those bread things, and she found out and she was really mean. She would cross the potatoes they had with a cross, so she'd know that's her potatoes.
Well,
Imagine your own son with starving children, and she was so selfish. And my father never forgave her. We had to live there because there was nothing else we could do. After, I think, half a year or so, he found another place for us and things like that. But that was and that was the winter 45, where there was 70 and no firewood in those houses, you know. There was no much electricity, nothing to eat. There was a bad harvest that year, and then lots of people died then there. And my little brother got typhoid fever and nearly died.
So when were you bombed at that stage? When did the bombing
That
start?
was after the war.
So where were you when the bombing was happening?
Yeah, that was in Czechoslovakia. We lived close to industrial fabrication of something, and the English did know that, and they bombed because that was German. Then, yeah, they bombed us
And
there.
so did you have a bomb shelter in your house?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that was when your mother was still
They
alive?
had a house like mine where there was, yeah. But once it was right beside it, and that was a fright also. But yeah, so that was my refugee thing.
So what happened
Then we
when
came
with
to
your brother? Didn't you have to take him down? What was that story with him?
Yeah, that was still when he was very
So what was
little.
that? What happened?
Well, the sirens went and the bombs. You could hear
Oh my
them
God.
coming like
Like rain.
humming like bees, you know. And then came little lights down to make it look beautiful, little candle lights, so they could see where they bomb. And then a few went astray, of course, and so it went.
So
Yeah,
what happened then with your brother?
Well, and the
siren went off?
alarm went, and everyone rushed down. And our house, my grandparents' house, had concrete steps, really tough, really rough, you know. And I couldn't. No one woke me up or anything. I was up in the upper floor. My other relatives were in the cellar already, and I saw the ship, you know. So, and he wouldn't wake up. So I took that poor little boy. He might have been just under 2 years even, I think. And I took him bump by bump.
What?
Those
How did you
concrete
pull him?
steps in
By
the
his
cellar.
arm?
Or somehow I just was terrified, you know, terrified. And I made it, and he made it. He made it.
So
But-
you were living in your whose grandparents' house was that?
My mother's parents' house.
And they were the ones who were really nice to you, weren't they?
They were nice, yeah.
Your
they
mum's
were nice.
parents and your aunt
But
sort of
yeah, no, I tell
I'm
you-
confused. So your aunt sort of raised you there, but then you went with your dad to live somewhere else. Is that what happened?
No, that was my grandmother for my father, the mother who was
The
not,
mean
was
one
not
after.
sharing. Yes.
But before
Before.
you crossed the bridge, did you?
Before. Oh, that's families. Sorry, I must bore you. But
No, it's all very interesting.
so my father married my mother, but her parents were never happy with him because he, after work, he often went to the pub and had a beer because he was a miner. He had a shocking job, and he wasn't at home as often, so they wouldn't speak to him. So he lived upstairs, they lived down there, and he would not talk to them. And I was oblivious. I was just handed up and down, you know, like I was just in the face for them, probably. I didn't. A kid doesn't know when
No.
you are wanted or not wanted. But my aunt was always nice to me, so yeah. But her husband, now listen to that. I wouldn't speak to him anymore, I think. There was an alarm and everyone ran for cover, and the cellar was our only because she had a baby too, as old as my brother. And for us it was too late to run to that big communal place to be. So her husband said, okay, you go there, I go to the shelter where there's more security, where it's much safer than at home. Bye. So he left his wife and his 2 children, a baby, all by themselves, and went with the others to the shelter there. And after the alarm, and we were bombed that night.
Mm.
And then he came back from the shelter, good as gold, you know, and we could have died. his wife could have been gone. We were sitting in rubble practically, but not really hurt. If that was me and that my husband, I would have given him the real hard time, wouldn't you? Imagine, you would go to Palm Beach because it's better for you there, or they will be okay. They can be down there.
So your mother was still alive at that stage?
No,
When that
she
happened?
was gone already. But I mean, and I just never really liked that guy anymore. He was a nice guy. I was only so little, but I could not understand if you, yeah, anyway.